Welcome to the Period Podcast, hosted by your girl, Tammy Forrest, aka Tammy Lachelle. How are you ladies doing tonight? I pray that everyone is doing well. I pray that everyone is prospering and everyone is in good health, the best health, which brings me straight into the episode for tonight. This is episode 2. It is also season 2, so this is our very second episode of season 2. And we will be talking about the connection between our physical and our mental health. How are you all balancing and taking care of your physical and your mental health? Both our physical and our mental health are foundational for our lives, are foundational for us to live out our best lives, right? Because when we're affected physically, our mental is affected, and vice versa. When we're affected mentally, our physical can be affected. And so there are so many things that we as women deal with in everyday life. It takes a lot to be a woman. We go through so many things, and we wear so many hats. We're so many things to others, but it's so important that we hone in and make sure that we are being all of the things that we are to others, that we are being that first to ourselves. We have to remember that we are a priority. It doesn't matter what age or stage you find yourself in as a woman. You need to make sure that you are making yourself a priority. You need to know that, first of all, self-care isn't selfish. It's a necessity. And that is something that I have had to learn, relearn over and over again, and something that I am continuing to learn. It's a process. I was listening to a YouTuber, a blogger, a couple of days ago, and she was saying how every day she does something for herself. Every day she does something for herself. And I remember a while back, it was some years ago, I started doing that. And that was so life changing, just taking out time every day to focus on you, right? And sometimes it's not always the big things that we can do, like, going to a spa. Of course, we can't go to a spa every day, can't go to the nail salon every day, or whatever the case is, but just making sure that you're doing something for yourself every day. For me, in the past, and what I'm starting to incorporate now, is just every day taking out time to myself, whether it be sometimes it's 10 minutes, sometimes it can be an hour, sometimes it can be 20 minutes. It will vary on, how your lifestyle is set up. But making sure to take out that necessary time, carving out time away from your job, away from your family, away from your kids, away from whatever responsibilities that you have that you're involved in your community, or whatever the case may be, just making sure you're carving out that time to yourself so you can help both your physical and your mental health. There are some of us that deal with things physically. Some of us have ailments, or, illnesses, or whatever the case may be. And I'm praying for any of my listeners who is going through anything physically. I pray for your healing, for the manifestation of your healing. Yes, I pray and I believe God for the manifestation of your healing. Amen. But when we go through things physically with our bodies, whenever something is wrong with our bodies, that can take a toll on your mental. And I want to advocate for that, because I don't feel that it's talked about enough. I don't feel that the topic of how your physical health affects your mental health is talked about enough. When something is wrong with your body physically, there is a range of emotions that happen, from sadness to depression, to the deep depths of depression. There is anxiety, there's panic attacks. There's so many things that can happen to our mental when we're not physically well. For me, I know in my case, if you have been a subscriber here to this podcast, you know a little bit of my backstory, the history of what started me and motivated me to do this podcast was my journey of having been diagnosed with fibroids and iron deficiency anemia at the time. I must say past, or whatever the case may be. But because I'm on a journey, y'all, and I'm flowing through it, and things are better, and I will catch up with you guys soon on my progress. Okay, but tonight we are talking about, the connection between our mental and physical health. So I know with me, when I started to deal with things in my physical body, it began to take a toll on my mental, y'all. I didn't know that all of the emotions that I started experiencing, I didn't know that I would experience that. I didn't know that I would be angry. I would feel anger. I would feel frustration. I would feel sad. I would feel helpless and hopeless, discouraged, even anxious, anxiety, insomnia at times, just a plethora of things that happened mentally as a result of what was taking place in my body physically. So it's very important to create that zinc, to create that harmony with your physical and your mental, to get in touch with yourself, to really focus on what is happening in your body, to really be present, to pay attention to what's happening, because things can go very left very fast. And that's my experience, and that's what started happening to me, as a result of the fibroid diagnosis. And I like to say the fibroid diagnosis because another thing that I have learned and I have adopted is to not just link yourself with things. It's okay to go through something, but it doesn't have to become your identity. It doesn't have to become what you are. Like I am dealing with fibroids, but I am not like fibroids. I don't have to make them a part of my identity. This is something that I'm dealing with. This is a journey. This is an experience, but I don't have to connect myself to it in a way that, and I pray that I'm making this make sense, because I'm not telling you to deny something, but what I am telling you is don't be careful about making things a part of who you are and making things a part of your identity. Be able to separate that. Okay, this is not who I am. This is a journey. This is an experience. This is something that I'm going through. Okay, but this is not a part of me. I'm not going to just, let this become my identity and let whatever situation that you're going through physically or mentally control your life. You know what I'm saying? I'm still me. I still have to take care of me. this does not have to become my whole life, because if you do that, you'll make everything about that, and that's definitely is not the way to go, because it will begin to take a toll again on your mental and your physical health, because everything will be about that. And just the other day, I experienced some food guilt, which is another thing that I find myself dealing with a lot, because I am on a journey of healing. Okay. Um, and I know that I'm already healed, and you all are already healed. But along this journey that I started to change my diet. I started to exercise. I started to pray more, spend more time with God, get out in nature, um, take herbs, get sunlight. I started to do a lot of things to help both my physical and my mental health. Diet was so huge to me, because I incorporated a mainly plant-based diet. And so whenever I don't eat the way that I should, I don't give myself grace, y'all. I give myself hell. I am so hard on myself, and I'm realizing that that is so not good for us. We have to be able to give ourselves grace. We can't be so hard on ourselves. We're not perfect. We need to be responsible. We need to take accountability. We need to have accountability partners. We need to get someone who can hold us accountable to the lifestyle changes and things like that. But we need to know that we're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to fail. I was having a conversation with my daughter yesterday, because I ended up making a choice that was not a good choice food wise. And it brought me into not a good place. I was beating myself up, and I was not feeling good at all about the choice that I made. And I was thinking that sometimes we're so accustomed to doing things that we act before we even think. And that's another thing that I want to work on. I want to work on thinking before I act. And I do think before I act, but sometimes, when you're in the hustle and bustle of life, or you're just moving, or you have a day where things are going kind of fast, sometimes you have the ability to, if we can be real, you have the ability to act before you think. And that's what I did yesterday with my food choices. And after I made the bad food choice, I was like, oh my God, all I had to do is slow down. I really was not all that hungry. Like, I was being extra. All I had to do was slow down and be like, you know what, I'm going to wait to eat till I'm able to make a better decision, a more focused decision, and make a better choice. That's all I had to do. But guess what? In that moment, I didn't do it. I made a not so good choice. And guess what? It was a choice. It was a moment. It's not my life. It's not my lifestyle. So I will be okay. And my daughter told me, she said, Mom, she said, discipline is not easy. And sometimes you're going to fail. It's not easy. And I thought about that all day. And that really helped me press forward and get out of that moment, because I was really stuck there, guys. I was like, wow, like I really was stuck there, and I had to give myself grace and be kind to myself and remind myself that was just a moment. That was just a bad choice. That's not my whole entire life. That was a small fraction of my day. So what can I do different going forward? What can I learn from this? Discipline is not easy, is what I've learned. Discipline is not easy. Sometimes you will fail, but remember to fail forward. Let your failure promote you to go forward. Don't let it hold you back. It's just a moment. And I think we need to take that approach just in life. When we mess up, let's dust ourselves off and let's get back up again. Let's remember we're just having a moment. You know, let's not beat ourselves up. Let's be gentle with ourselves. So, food guilt, like I said, back to what I was saying, is one of the things that I deal with, you know, frequently, because I'm always just trying to make sure I eat the best that I can be. And guess what? I do that. I consider myself of doing a very great job with that. But like I said, we're not perfect. We're not perfect beings, and we're not going to always get it right. But that food guilt comes from me making the diagnosis that was given to me by the doctor a part of my identity. Is not who I am. I can't allow that diagnosis to control me and to shape my life. No, God is in control. That is what I have to remember. There are so many things going on in this world, even shopping for food and things like that. Like, there are so many. You can be thinking you're buying the best in quality of foods when pretty much everything is being tampered with, right? Like, it is like our fruits, our vegetables, they're being sprayed heavily with pesticides. Even when you buy organic, I mean, can you truly trust that, okay, this is organic? You're not actually on the farm growing it yourself. You don't know. So it all boils down to truly trusting God. It boils down to truly trusting God is how we're all going to get through whatever we're dealing with. We have to have that trust in our God. We have to. There's no other way around it, because we are all fighting a battle that is so much bigger than us. Amen. So thank God for Jesus. Thank God for God. I'm telling you, He is the one that I'm ultimately trusting with my healing, right? So, like I said, you can deal with so much mentally as a woman, and it can affect you physically. And you can deal with things physically, and they can affect you mentally. So I want to talk about things that we can do that support both our physical and our mental health. So some of the things that I've incorporated into my life that help my mental, which I talked about a little bit, earlier in this episode, was that taking that time out to myself every day, taking that time out to myself. I started doing last year. My mother-in-law, my mom-in-law is what I call her. She transitioned. And shortly after that, um, I discovered that I dealt with anxiety. I feel like that anxiety was always there, but there are some situations where your mental health will be forced out into the open. And that is what I feel like happened, because even as a little girl, I grew up in a dysfunctional home. Um, I grew up in an abusive home, and I'll never, sugarcoat that. I'll never hide that. And looking back on my childhood, looking back, growing up throughout, my teenage years into adulthood, I was always anxious. I was always anxious. I was always fearful of something, and I didn't know, anything about anxiety. I didn't know anything about mental health, really. A few years ago is when I first even heard of a lot of these words. And I am so thankful for this time and this moment that we're in, because I feel like we as a community, particularly the Black community, are finally addressing mental health issues. And that is so important, and it's so valuable, because growing up, you couldn't speak on any of these things. and I feel like we suppressed so much, and it made us really broken individuals, really broken adults that are now fixing ourselves so that the future generations that come from us, our children, our children's children, and all the generations that will come, will be healed as a process of us healing and us doing the work that we need to be doing, right? And that's why it's so important and it's so vital to do the work, to do your inner work and to do your outer work, to really, you know, work on yourself, identify your thoughts, identify your behavior patterns, figure out where is all of these things coming from. Go to therapy, talk to somebody. It's okay to talk to someone because it can be so healing and life changing. Just being able to connect the dots and find out, why am I this way? And then being able to have someone help you to come up with resolutions on how to move forward rather than staying back. In my experience, when we confront things, that is how we heal. When things are covered, when things are concealed, there's no healing that can come from that. And that is what I'm saying about your mental health, some situations, some physical things that you have going on, some mental things that you have going on. At some point, if you are not dealing with those things, they're going to be forced out into the open, and you may or may not be prepared to deal with that. And so making sure that we're staying on top of our physical when we notice things that are not right within our bodies. I feel like, from my observation, that we as women, we do a good job with taking care of our physical bodies. I feel like we do. I feel like we are more in tune with our bodies. We're more in sync and harmony. And when something is off in our bodies, I feel like we tend to pay attention. We may be like, okay, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't look right. I feel like we do pay attention to those things. And I feel like we're more, we go to the doctor. Like we're compared to men, we're most likely to go to the doctor when when we think something is off, or for some of us who are taking more of holistic approaches in this time, because I know that's a huge thing, then we go take the holistic approach to confront the situation that we're dealing with physically. So I feel like that we as women, we tend to pay attention to our physical health. I think that what sometimes happens that slows down the process of us paying attention to our physical health may be like time consumption. What is consuming us in our personal lives, in our day-to-day lives. We may, push things to the side and be like, yeah, I'm gonna go check on it. I'm gonna go check on it. I'm gonna make that doctor's appointment and things like that. And so I feel like those are the things that distract us from paying attention to our physical health. But in most cases, from my observation, and I'm not a physician, I'm not an expert, I'm just a woman that's on a journey sharing my experience. That is my disclaimer. I am not a physician, I'm not a therapist, I'm not none of that. I'm just sharing my experience and my observations, and mainly from my own life. But when it comes down to our mental health as women, and particularly Black women, I'm gonna speak to my sisters. Sorry about that. I feel like our mental health gets pushed more on the back burner because I feel like we're always going, like that little battery commercial that used to come on years ago with that little bunny, the Energizer bunny. We're always going. We're always moving. We're planning this, we're planning that. And oftentimes we're not taking that time out to heal and deal. We're just going, we're suppressing a lot of things. And at some point, like I said, Something happens and it's like now it's this plethora of things that we are dealing with because we didn't take that time out to take care of our mental. And so there is this stigma in our community, where we have to be strong. We've been taught to be strong. We're always told to be strong. We're expected to be strong. And that is the furthest from the truth. It's okay to be weak. It's okay to have weak moments. Okay. It's okay to allow God to be your strength because He is your strength. Okay. It's okay to fail sometimes. It's okay to not know the answers. It's okay to take a step back. We have this saying that I hear, I'll bend, but I'm not going to break. Child, I'm going to break if I have to break. I'm going to break because when you break, your mental health is forced out into the open. And it needs to be because you need to know where you are in life. Because if you don't know where you are, if you don't know the problem, you'll never get to the solution. And so you need to break. It's okay to break. I'm here to encourage you that it's okay to break. If you've been feeling like breaking, go ahead on and break. So that you can begin to put those pieces of your life together. Yeah. Go on ahead and break. And it's also okay to take breaks. It's okay to step away. It's okay to step back from anything that feels like it's too much. Take a break from your job if you need to. Find out what resources your job may offer. I was working a job a few years ago and it was a lot going on in my personal life. And I knew that I needed to take a break for my mental health. And I was actually going to leave the job, but I talked to my manager or one of my supervisors, and there was a resource where I was able to take the break that I needed. I was able to take some time off. I didn't get paid during that time off because I hadn't been with that company long enough, but I was able to take a break, work on my mental health, and come back in a couple of months. And I, long story short, I decided to not go back or to not return because I chose myself and what was going on physically and mentally at the time. But yeah, you never know until you explore. So it's okay to take a step back from relationships, from friendships, from community things that you may be involved in, from your family, and you can't really take a break from your family, but you can sit down and talk to them and say, look, this is what I need. This is what I have going on, and I need y'all's support, and that has been so life-changing to me as well. Being able, because I'm a person that is very independent. I don't like to ask for help. I don't know. That's that strong woman thing. I got this all by myself. But know that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to delegate authority to somebody else so that you can be a better you. Some other things that I incorporated was journaling, meditation, prayer, praise and worship, laying quiet, sitting in silence, getting in nature, taking walks, doing all of those things, And so I am running out of time, and I am going to work on seeing how I can get these podcasts longer because I love talking to you guys, but I'm only given about 30 minutes at this time for a podcast. So there's not a whole lot that I can place into one episode. But I just want to encourage you, wrapping things up. Take care of yourself. Take care of your physical and your mental. Girl, you got this. Remember to pray. Keep God first. Stay in alignment with God and stay in alignment with yourself. Get in sync, get in harmony, get in touch, get in tune with your body. Pay attention to what your body is saying, as well as pay attention to what your mind is saying. I love you all. I pray that you all be blessed and have a blessed week and a blessed month. And I'll be back soon to chat with you all. thank you to every person that has already subscribed. If you're a listener and you haven't subscribed, I would appreciate your support. I would appreciate your support. And again, to those who have supported me, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. This is the Period Podcast. It's a conversation about periods. So join the conversation.